Okay, you have your NFL Week 16 predictions. So filming this after the Week 15 morning game, so I don't know all the results yet, but you have your first game, a very interesting, the Jets versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jets coming off a loss against the Lions, the Jaguars coming off a win against the Cowboys. Jaguars, their offense has been doing a lot better as of late. They came back versus the Cowboys, Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence having a good stretch of games, but that Jaguars defense definitely has to get better. They did stop the Cowboys near the end, but overall has not been that good this year. And the Jets, they have to time manage better. Their defense did well and their offense did well enough, but on that last time, their time management was bad. And this one is a Thursday nighter, and Jets do have the home field advantage, but I'm going with the hot team right now, and that has to be the Jaguars. Then you have the Titans versus the Houston. Houston coming off an overtime loss against the Chiefs, while the Titans currently play against the Chargers. Tannehill just got injured for the Titans, so I'm not sure if he's going to play or not. And I think that might actually benefit the Titans. While the Texans, they played really well against the Chiefs. Um, their defense slowed down the Chiefs' offense from scoring points, but they did allow a good game to Mahomes. And their offense, with both Mills and Allen, surprisingly did well. Um, this is a Saturday game, and the Titans, they really need this game if they want to keep in the division, especially if they lose to the Chargers. And I think the Titans defense and Derrick Henry will be too much for the Texans, so I'm going to take the Titans. Then you have the Bengals versus the Patriots. Um, the Patriots, they currently play against the Raiders, while the Bengals currently play against the Buccaneers. And the Patriots, their defense has been playing really, really well this year. Their offense has not been. While the Bengals, both, I think they're a really hot team right now. Both their offense and their defense have been playing really well. And this one's definitely a trap game for the Bengals, though, with the Patriots having home field advantage and a good defense. But I gotta take the Bengals. Then I have these. Then you have the Steelers versus the Raiders. Steelers just beat the Panthers, I think, and the Raiders are currently playing against the Patriots. Not a pretty game versus the Panthers. Their defense did well. Their offense had their moments. Just not a very pretty game for them. And the Raiders currently play against the Patriots. The Raiders' defense has not been good, and their coaching has not been good. Their offense has been playing well as of late, but they just can't win those close games. And this one's going to be a tight game with the Pittsburgh Steelers defense doing well. So I'm going to take the Pittsburgh here, and they have home field advantage. Then you have the Colts versus the Chargers on Monday night. Colts just lost, led up the biggest comeback to the Vikings. The Chargers currently play against the Tennessee Titans. The Colts, they did play well against the Vikings until the second half, where they completely imploded. Matt Ryan played well. Their offense, even without Taylor, did well. And their defense, though, did well in the first half, could not do well in the second half. While Chargers, their team been injured. Their defense, not great. Their offense is great, though. This one's going to be a Monday nighter, and I'm actually going to project an upset here. I'm going to take the Colts. Then you have the Bears versus the Bills. Bills coming off a close win versus the Dolphins, while the Bears coming off a loss to the Eagles. Justin Field had a great game versus the Eagles. Bears offense had a decent game versus a great team like the Eagles. Their defense could not stop Jalen Hurts on the last drive, though. While the Bills, they're hot right now, and Josh Allen's having a great stretch of games. Their defense could be doing better. Didn't do great against the Dolphins, but this year has been doing great. And this one, I think this one's going to be a very, very tight game, and I'm actually going to project the upset here. I'm going to take the Bears. I think those Saturday night home field advantage for the Bears, and that Saturday night game will be too much. Then you have the Chiefs versus the Seahawks. Seahawks lost to San Francisco on a Thursday night, while the Chiefs barely beat the Texans. The Chiefs, they're in a bit of a slump right now. Their offense hasn't been doing great, but they have been doing enough these past couple of games, and their defense hasn't been great either. While the Seahawks, they're also in a bit of a slump. Their offense and defense has not been playing as well as they did during November, and I'm going to take the Chiefs here. Then you have the Ravens versus the Falcons. Falcons coming off a loss against the Saints, and the Ravens coming off a loss against the Browns. Ravens offense just is not good right now. Without Lamar Jackson, they can't do anything. Their defense, though, did well. They pretty much shut down Nick Chubb and slowed down Deshaun Watson. So their defense, if they're going to win, it's going to be their defense. While the Falcons, Desmond Ridder started. He did fine. There's nothing wrong with him. Their defense did not do well against a bad Saints offense. And Desmond Ridder, I think he's going to go up against a very good Ravens defense. So I'm going to take the Ravens. Then you have the Browns versus the Saints. A very interesting game, a Saturday nighter. Saints defense has been good this season. Their offense has not been. While the Browns, they've been getting better. Deshaun Watson has been looking better. Nick Chubb is in a bit of a slump, but their defense right now is not good. They did have a good game versus the Ravens, but I'm going to take the Saints for this one. You have the Dolphins versus the Packers. Dolphins come off a loss against the Bills. Packers play on Monday night. And the Dolphins, they had a good game versus the Bills. They could not get it done at the end, but they played. Their offense did a lot better than they did the previous two games. Their defense has to get better though, but against the Packers, whose offense has not looked good even with Rodgers, and the Packers defense has not been as good as advertised. They've been all right, but I think the Miami's offense will be too much, so I'm going to take the Dolphins here. Then you have the Rams versus the Broncos. Both these teams are probably tanking right now. I'm just going to take the Rams because they have home field advantage. Then you have the Vikings versus the Giants. Vikings just coming off the biggest comeback win, and they've been doing great on one possession games. They did not do particularly well in the first half against the Colts, and that should not happen again. They left 33 points, but they came back. Well, the Giants, they play on Sunday night, but they're on like a 2-game skid right now, and they have not been playing well. The Vikings, this is going to be a tight game, but I'm going to take the Vikings. Then you have the Panthers versus the Lions. The Panthers come off a loss against the Steelers, while the Lions come off a win against the Jets. Lions against the Jets was not their best offensive performance. Jared Goff had a good, not great game. Their defense slowed down the Jets offense a little bit. It was not terrible. The Lions defense has definitely gotten better these last couple of games, and I think the Lions offense is good. The Panthers, they're definitely rebuilding right now. It's definitely a trap game. Panthers aren't particularly good on offense or defense, but definitely a trap game, and Panthers do have home field advantage, but I'm still going to take the Lions here. Then you have the San Francisco. Then you have the Niners versus the Commanders. This one, Niners won against the Seahawks with Brock Purdy starting. They have so much talent on their team right now that Purdy doesn't have to do very well. Their defense is probably number one. Offense, they have Christian McCaffrey, Kittle. Debo might be out though. The Commanders, they're definitely a good team. Their defense has been doing a lot better. Their offense with Heineke has been a lot more explosive, but they are definitely inconsistent, especially on the offense. I'm going to take the San Francisco. They have too much talent. Then you have the Cowboys versus the Eagles. Cowboys coming off a loss against Jacksonville. Eagles coming off a narrow win against the Bears. Both these teams right now are great on offense and defense. These are both heavyweight champions. But the Cowboys right now making way too many mistakes, especially on offense and defense. And against the Jaguars, they just let their foot off the gas, while the Eagles have been nearly perfect. They didn't have a great game versus the Bears, but offense and defense has been great. The Eagles won the first game, and I think they're going to split, so I'm going to take the Cowboys. You have the Cardinals versus the Buccaneers. Buccaneers currently play against the Bengals, while the Cardinals the Cardinals play later, and Cardinals, they lost Kyler Murray right now, and the rest of their team is just not that good. Not their offense, not their defense, who has not played as well. While the Buccaneers, their defense is at least good, and without Kyler Murray, I don't see the Cardinals really competing, so I'm going to take the Buccaneers here. So there you have it, my NFL Week 16 predictions.